Welcome, guys. As you're coming in, please feel free to take some time to get settled, and we will get started in a little bit. All right, guys, welcome to episode 8 of the ICT movement. As you notice that I'm sharing my screen right now. Oh, there we go. I'm going to ask a question. I have two types of clocks right here. One is the Atlantic Standard Time and the other is Central Standard Time. I have two questions. One, which time are we observing right now, and what time should we actually be observing right now? If you say we are observing Atlantic Standard Time right now, watch this. This is the time that we have to observe right now, and Central Standard Time is the time that we should really be observing right now. And there are some benefits and side effects to daylight saving time, but I'm going to address the time zone. Why is Indiana in the wrong time zone? So, for a reason, we have bright evenings in the summertime and dark mornings in the wintertime. Why do we have that? I don't know. Shouldn't it be the other way around? We should have bright mornings in the morning when we get up and dark evenings to help us wind down. That is how we know that we are really in the right time zone. The test that you can use is the sundial method. Here, I'm going to grab my sundial here, if I can find it. No, I can't. I have my sundial here somewhere. Yes, I found it. So this tool that I have right now is the sundial right here. Notice that this rod is at an angle right here. When you put this sundial at this rod at an angle of the latitude that you are in, you'll get more accurate sundial readings that way. If it's calibrated correctly, then this sundial, the rod will cast the sun's shadow onto a certain point between each numbers, or which hour, basically. So that is the test to see if you're really in the right time zone. And here is another test that you can use to see if you're really in the right time zone or not. The map method. So first, look at this map here. This is the map that we used back in 1918. Well, not all the states were developed, and Hawaii wasn't a state back then. And look at this. This is the time map. This is the time map. Blah. This is the time map that we observe today. Why do we have this? So Congress decides the time zones for us, but not exactly. The states have the power to change their time zone within their state. So that's that. Why is daylight saving time? So question number 2, question 1 was already answered. So question 2, why is daylight savings bad for Indiana and the people in general? So 2 reasons. 1, we're having to switch our clocks 2 times a year, which is awful because we can't have sleep. Sleep. What type of sleep am I talking specifically? Am I talking sleep in general or consistent quality sleep? If you're saying consistent quality sleep, you are correct. Consistent quality sleep is important, even in the wintertime and in the summertime, both in general. But we don't have that here in Indiana. The reason for that being is that when we are switching our clocks 2 times a year, it throws off our internal biological clock. And that's not good, because our bodies are not going through this full cycle of repairing any damage that has happened throughout the day. And we need this, because I already explained that. If we're not having this full cycle of repairment, we will have more heart attacks, strokes, car accidents, sleep deprivations, inconsistencies, you name it. And there are many other side effects too, but there are some claimed benefits here. Getting outside more, ditch on those unwanted pounds, walk more. These are the claimed benefits that I'm reading here. Enjoy the mood of boosting sunrise. I do understand that people like bright evenings because they claim that it gives them more time to enjoy the sunlight. But remember, changing time zones is not going to extend your day. It's what we do with our hours that count, you see? So let's do a little bit of math. If it's 7:30 right now, or 7:31, it just turned 7:31, it would be 5:31 here in Indiana right now, really. It has to be 5:31 right now. And we will look at the side effects here. Why should we abolish daylight saving time? A sleep neurologist explains the science. I'm showing the website, so no plagiarism intended. Bringing forward bad for our health and safety. As I mentioned before, strokes, heart attacks, car accidents, sleep deprivation, all increase. But when we fall back at the end of daylight saving time, the opposite happens. There will be people that will feel better. They'll have less sleep deprivation because they're gaining an extra hour of sleep. And it happens to me. I will have a different sleep schedule in the winter time when daylight savings is over. And here's the sad thing. Let's start with going into spring. When we are going into spring, well, let's start winter before going into daylight savings, spring. So in the springtime, before going into daylight savings, our mornings are getting brighter and brighter until 2 a.m. in the morning, instantly going to 3 a.m. We lose an hour of sleep, and the mornings become dark again until after a month or two or a few weeks, whatever, the mornings start getting brighter, and we have to wait another month. And nobody wants that, or nobody in general wants to see that happen. And the same thing goes for standard time, falling back by 1 hour. The mornings are getting darker, and when we fall back an hour, the mornings get brighter. But sadly, it's temporary. The morning after a few weeks or 1 month, it gets dark again after some time. And nobody in general wants this, period. We don't want to experience dark mornings in the wintertime or bright evenings in the summertime. Because when we experience bright evenings in the summertime, it's going to make it harder for early risers to wind down because they have to go to bed at a certain time and then wake up at a certain time. When early risers wake up, it is still dark outside in the wintertime, and it makes it harder to fall asleep in the sun. And our early risers, our Hoosiers, are having to use blackout curtains to block out the sunlight. And especially if your window is pointing west, it's going to make it much, much harder to fall asleep because the sun is shining in your window pointing west. And that's not good because we need to have some kind of consistency here. Now we got to the side effects and claimed benefits. What maps have or are we observing right now? I already mentioned this, and I'm going to do this again. So this is the map that we had back in 1918 through 1919. 1918 is when this is just an example. This type of time zones were established, and Congress repealed this time zone map in 1919. And back in the roaring 20s and 30s, and busting 30s, well, let's say the roaring 20s, all of Indiana was in the Central Standard Time Zone year-round. And this was good because people were getting quality, consistent sleep, and that is key to great health. But when FDR issued wartime, we went into daylight saving time because he claims that it would help the economy, I think. I'm not sure. But in general, I know that wartime was daylight saving time, which is what we observe today, but in a different time zone that we have to observe. And this is the time zone that we observe today. 12 of the 92 counties observe central time, and they are in the right time zone. Well, except for daylight time, of course. We need to be 6 hours behind the universal coordinated time zone year round. And why is most of Indiana observing the Eastern Daylight Time Zone right now? It's because to help the economy and to extend our days. But as I mentioned earlier, changing time zones is not going to change anything. It's what we do with our hours that count. So if it's 7:36 right now, it would be 5:36 right now. So let's take the mornings for example. When you're going into work, if you're going to work at 7 a.m. local time or Atlantic Standard Time, let me type that in, Atlantic Standard Time. Hang on. Standard Time. There we go. That's the time that we observe right now. Atlantic Beach. Why is it not at Atlantic Standard Time? I'm just going to type in AST. There we go. Atlantic Standard Time. If you're going to work at 7 a.m. in Atlantic Standard Time, you would go to work at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. So basically, you're starting 2 hours earlier. And in Eastern Time, 1 hour earlier. And that's why people like daylight saving time, because they like the extra daylight at the end of the day. So if people are going to live by the Central Standard Time year-round, they can ask their employers to move their hours back by 2 hours. And that's how we could make it work. I mean, that's just my solution. If you have your own solution, that's all fine and dandy. So why do we have... The next question that I'm going to answer is why we have the power to switch time zones. So let's look at the very first 3 words of the U.S. Constitution. Hang on, am I sharing my screen right now? Oh, yes, I am. Never mind. Let's look at the very first 3 words. We the people. This is to show we are a constitutional republic, because we the people have the power to contact our government if anything. We have the power. We the people have the power to change time zones whenever necessary. But the government is our servant, and they have the obligation to listen to us. And let's look at the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which is the part of the Bill of Rights. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Look at this. Or to the people. The 10th Amendment and the preamble, the very first 3 words of the U.S. Constitution, we the people, are similar because it gives the people and the states the power to change time zones whenever necessary. And who's in charge of the time zones here? So the ways to change a time zone, it's either by Congress or the Secretary of Transportation, or issue regulations making changes, or the states. So the U.S. Department of Transportation, Congress, and or the states, or the local government. So this is the information required to... These are requirements needed to change time zones. So the questions such as where do businesses in the community get their supplies, and to where do they ship their goods or products? That's one of the questions that you can look at transportation.gov/regulations/forward/regulations/moving-area-1-time-zone-another. These are the requirements that you can read. So effective date of any change. If the decision is made to change the time zone boundary, DOT attempts to make the change effective at the next changeover to or from daylight saving time, whichever is appropriate to minimize confusion and disruption. So let's say for example, if we want to switch to Central Standard Time year-round at the end of daylight saving time, at 2 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time, we would switch our clocks by 2 hours. That's just an example. The next question that we have, how can we build momentum to move all of Indiana to the Central Standard Time zone year-round? So here's how we can make it happen. So first, I'm going to teach you how to contact your state legislature or congressional leaders. First, go to iga.in.gov. IGA stands for Indiana General Assembly. So here's the Senate. The Senate has recessed until the fall of gavel, and the House of Representatives has adjourned until the fall of gavel. So basically, they can call themselves into a special session, which is unconstitutional because the governor has the authority to call for a special session. And the General Assembly is a part-time job. And since they're not in session right now, we have the opportunity to build momentum to switch all of Indiana to the Central Standard Time zone year-round, no daylight saving time. So anyways, how to build momentum or contact your state legislatures. You go to find your legislature, you click here. So the stars indicate the required information that you need to build momentum to contact your state legislatures. So first, I'm going to do something. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I don't expose my information to you guys. So I'm going to type in my street address, city. The state of Indiana is already in there. My zip code. Not going to share it to you. Okay, it's loading right now. It did it. I'm just gonna not share my location. All right, I'm gonna share my screen again. Right here, these are my state leaders. My state senator is Fady Quadura, and my state representative is Carrie Hamilton. And here is my congressional leaders. We have Victoria Sparks, Senator Todd Young, and Senator Mike Braun. So here are the phone numbers of our senator and representative. You can call this number if you want to, but I can tell you they have agents. When you call the number in the time in their session or whatever, they're going to have an agent. And if a constituent has an idea, they can call this number and they will speak to an agent. And the agent will refer that idea to the state senator that they represent, or representative, whatever. Email them. The agent will give the email for the state senator or representative. And they have other agents. There are other agents for our congressional leaders also. So that's how you can contact your state legislatures. So now I will answer some questions. Now I will answer some questions from the live chat on how to make this happen to make Central Standard Time year-round a thing. And here's the kicker. There are people in Indiana that are not liking daylight saving time. There are farmers that don't like it. If farmers and the people in general do not like daylight saving time or hate it, or hate this time zone that we are currently observing, why are we still observing it? Stop observing it. Man. That's all I can present to you right now. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat below, on the side or below or whatever. No questions? All right. So I'm going to end this live stream right now. If you like this live stream, give this a thumbs up. I'm going to be making more of these live streams frequently, but I can't make any promises though. If I don't want to make any videos, that's my choice. But I will make more videos for you guys to make sure that we build the momentum before they are back in session, and that they will pass a law putting all of Indiana into the Central Standard Time Zone year-round. I hope this was helpful for you, and have a great day and evening, or whichever time that you are watching this. See you guys later, and enjoy your